Hi everyone, and welcome to English podcast session. I'm John.
And I'm Amelia. Today's topic is a fascinating one. Why we lie. We'll explore the psychology behind lying, why humans do it, and the different types of lies.
It's something everyone has done at some point, from tiny white lies to more serious forms of dishonesty. But why do we lie? What purpose does it serve? Stay tuned as we break it all down.
And don't forget, we'll have an intermediate vocabulary section halfway through to help you expand your English skills, plus a short story at the end to tie everything together.
Ready to dive in, Amelia?
Absolutely. Let's get started.
So, Amelia, why do you think people lie?
Well, John, psychologists say lying often happens for self-preservation. People lie to avoid punishment, embarrassment, or conflict. It's a kind of defense mechanism.
That's right. Sometimes, people lie to protect themselves or others. For example, saying, "I'm fine" when you're actually not fine. That's a white lie, isn't it?
Exactly. White lies are usually harmless and meant to keep the peace. But there are also more serious lies, like manipulative or pathological ones.
Pathological lies. Now that's a heavy topic. These are lies told habitually, even when there's no clear reason to lie. It's linked to deeper psychological issues, like a need for control or attention.
Yes, and research shows that lying actually activates specific parts of the brain, like the prefrontal cortex. The more someone lies, the easier it becomes for the brain to do it.
So, you're saying that lying can become a habit?
Precisely. If lying works in a situation, it's likely to be repeated. But here's something interesting. Most lies are told not to hurt people but to create a better image of ourselves.
You mean like exaggerating on a resume or social media?
Exactly. It's about self-presentation. But lies like these can have consequences if they're discovered.
That's a good point, Amelia. So, let's recap. People lie to avoid conflict, protect themselves or others, and sometimes to make themselves look better. But it's not always harmless, right?
Right. And understanding why we lie can help us become more mindful of it. Let's talk about the different types of lies next. So, John, what do you think are the main types of lies?
Well, we already mentioned white lies. Those are small, harmless lies, like saying, "Your cooking is delicious" when it's actually not so great.
True. Then there are lies of omission, where someone leaves out key details to deceive.
Right. Like when someone doesn't mention they broke something but lets you think it was an accident.
Exactly. And then we have exaggerations, which are lies that stretch the truth. For example, saying, "I've been to Paris 100 times when you've only gone twice."
And what about malicious lies? These are told to intentionally hurt someone. They're much more harmful than white lies or exaggerations.
Yes, malicious lies can destroy trust and relationships. Finally, there's compulsive lying, where people lie without even thinking about it.
That's a lot to take in. So, lies can be harmless or harmful, intentional or habitual. And the motivation behind each type can vary.
Absolutely. But no matter the type, lies can erode trust over time. And trust is essential in any relationship.
Well said, Amelia. And speaking of relationships, let's take a quick break for our vocabulary section. Ready?
Ready. Let's do it. Welcome to our vocabulary break. Here are 5 words related to today's topic: why we lie. Let's dive in.
First word, deceive. This means to trick or mislead someone. For example, he deceived his friend by pretending he didn't break the vase.
Great one. Second word, manipulate. This means to control or influence someone in a clever but often unfair way. For example, she manipulated the situation to get what she wanted.
Third word, pathological. This describes behavior that is extreme or habitual, like pathological lying. For example, his pathological lying made it hard to trust him.
Next, we have omission. This means leaving something out, often to mislead. For example, the omission of key details made the story seem suspicious.
And finally, exaggerate. This means to make something seem bigger or more important than it really is. For example, he exaggerated his role in the project to impress his boss. There you have it. 5 words to help you talk about lying and dishonesty. Ready to get back to the discussion?
Absolutely. Let's go.
So, Amelia, we've talked about why people lie and the types of lies. But what about the consequences?
Great question. The biggest consequence is a loss of trust. When someone is caught lying, it's hard to believe them again.
That's true. Trust is fragile. And lies can lead to guilt, stress, and even damage to a person's reputation.
Exactly. And in some cases, lying can have legal consequences like perjury, which is lying under oath.
Good point. On a personal level, lying can also strain relationships. It creates distance between people.
Yes, and even small lies can add up over time. It's like building a wall between you and the other person.
So, would you say honesty is always the best policy?
Not always. Sometimes, a small lie can be kinder than the truth. But in general, honesty builds stronger connections.
I agree. And with that, shall we move on to our story section?
Let's do it.
Today's story is about a boy named Ethan. Ethan was known for telling small lies. He'd say things like, "I finished my homework when he hadn't," or "I didn't eat the cookies when crumbs were all over his face."
At first, his parents found it amusing. But over time, his lies grew bigger. One day, Ethan told his friends he had a dog, even though he didn't.
His friends wanted to see the dog, so Ethan borrowed a neighbor's dog for a day. But when the neighbor found out, Ethan's lie was exposed. His friends were upset, and his parents were disappointed. Ethan learned that lying might work in the short term, but it can hurt you in the long run.
Exactly. After that, Ethan made an effort to be honest. And over time, he rebuilt trust with the people around him.
A great lesson for all of us. Lying might seem easy, but honesty leads to stronger relationships.
And that's a perfect note to end on.
So, that's it for today's episode of English Podcast Session. We hope you enjoyed our discussion on why we lie.
And don't forget to practice the vocabulary words we shared. Use them in sentences and conversations to improve your skills.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.